So obviously MJF, Britt Baker got into an argument allegedly backstage a couple of weeks ago at Dynamite 250, and now MJF has actually come out and talked about that altercation incident, whatever we want to call it, for the first time ever since this happened and it broke. We're going to take a listen to what MJF had to say. This is going to be audio courtesy of Cultaholic. That is an interview that MJF did with Cultaholic.com where he talked about this and shed light on it in the first or for the first time that we've at least heard about it. Here is what he had to say.
There's been all these reports of a backstage incident, a blow-up, whatever you want to call it, with Dr. Britt Baker.
Very real. Yes, it all happened. Hey, tell me if this passes the smell test, okay, asshole? I barge into a woman's locker room. I scream in the face of an 110-pound woman, and then I physically threaten her by punching a wall in her vicinity, and I don't get suspended. Does that pass the smell test to you?
No.
Interesting.
I read a correction which then said you didn't barge into the locker room.
Yeah, I don't think there was enough corrections because almost everything that was written didn't happen.
Okay.
Listen, everybody has coworkers at work they may not get along with. I have a feeling that this was blown out of proportion because all of the English wrestling commentary places that make money off of people like me who are far more rich and talented and handsome and humble need clickbait. I can sit here and I can say wrestling is a very competitive sport. It breeds a level of insecurity like no other. However, I can easily, sitting here, I can put over any talent, regardless of whether or not I like them as a human being. I can sit here and I can tell you that Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné at Wembley on August 25th is going to be an epic match.
It's huge, yeah.
And we should all be excited to watch it. I don't have to like all my coworkers, and that's fine. But yeah, dude, that was wild to read.
Yeah.
Wild to read.
That was MJF talking about that whole situation with Britt Baker and, the reports that inaccurately depicted him, quote unquote, barging into the women's locker room when most reputable sources claimed that he knocked, asked for permission, had a conversation with Britt, and things got heated from there. Trevor, what do you think about MJF's comments? What's your initial reaction here?
I mean, the guy is he I'm trying to figure my words. Like MJF has never mixed words, right? He's never been a guy that tried to blow smoke up any fan's ass, for lack of a better term. He's always been straight shooter that I know of. Everything has been covered in the media and everything. It's just, But at the same token, we know how media is. Media always blows things out of proportion. That's how media stays around. That's how media sells. Like, so to speak, clickbait. That's even you yourself and I have never been that way off. But
there is an acceptable amount, like anyone with a brain knows this, there's an acceptable amount of like quote unquote clickbait you can do. Like,
right.
But
to say this man barged into a 150-pound woman's locker room and got in her face and didn't see any like jail time or something like that is a little, far-fetched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reality is Britt Baker was the one who was punished from this. We don't know the details outside of, like, what has been reported, and I like, think about, like, things like this, and I'm just like, look, obviously, something was done. It's alleged that Britt Baker said certain things to MJF's partner. That is none of my business, to be honest with you, but it seems to be the reason, like, or at least the perception was, like, Britt was, like, taking it too far. and that's
Right.
why, at least that's the sense from the reports, that's why she was suspended. At the same time, I think, like, we've all kind of been in situations, we've talked about this, right? Like, where it's like, you don't like who you work with. It happens. You have times where you might yell at each other. You have times where you might say, like, one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and, like, the relationship deteriorates. But if there are any two people that I believe will be professional coming out of this and not call each other out on live TV, not go on a press conference and call each other out, and not, bury the company while they're at it, it's probably these two. I think they take a lot of, like, forget the company and Tony Khan making money. Like, take that completely out of it. I think they take a lot of pride in, what AEW has done and the impact that its just existence has made to the wrestling business. Not talking about the company, not talking about Tony Khan. I'm talking about the fact that there is an alternative to the monopoly that is WWE, and that being a good thing. I think they take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're. I guess you can say right now they're ambassadors for their brand because I mean they're both homegrown superstars that were in their own right. Like, so yeah, I mean it goes without saying that they wouldn't disrespect their brand in that manner. Like, especially, I mean, as much of as he calls himself a scumbag for the fans or whatever, as much as Britt Baker has been a heel, like, they respect their brand and they respect everyone in their brand. So they're not going to do something quite like that.
Let's hope not. Well, we'll see what happens here. But look, Britt Baker is coming back. She's going to wrestle Mercedes Moné, and MJF kept it professional. He put her over, man. He put her over.
He really did. Like, and honestly, I don't think what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think older younger MJF before would have done that, honestly.
Would he just bought a plane ticket and had the entire wrestling world at his fingertips?
Pretty much.
Shout out to MJF, though. Shout out to Britt Baker. Both amazing talent.